Hello again, this is Dr. Tony. I'm a chiropractor here in Upland. I'm talking to Tara today from Pennsylvania. We're going to talk today about how do we lower our stress if you're a business owner like myself. I want to pick her brain. Also, if you run your own personal business and or if you run a business like a big family type of event or things like your church, whatever it might be. As we get out of COVID, we're getting back to somewhat of a normal or new normal. How do we make our businesses solid and even our mindsets too solid to handle, if you want to call it, hopefully, the growth of the business so you don't overwhelm yourself and you don't go down a wrong direction? Can we focus ourselves in our mindset again of how do we get ourselves there? And Tara's going to do is basically tell us her secret steps. So don't tell anybody if you're watching this video, how to get there first with your mindset and then from your overall, if you want to call it step by step, with your overall business too. So Tara, give us a quick background of what you do and what you've done in the past.
Okay, so I own a branding agency based in Pennsylvania. I serve clients worldwide, and my goal is to help people have a solid understanding of who they are, who they're serving, what they do, and then in turn have the clarity that they need to effectively move forward and attract their ideal audience to them. So in the past, my background, I grew up the daughter of an owner of an advertising and marketing agency. So it's something I've been doing literally my entire life. I went to school for psychology and photography, so entered into the fine arts world, but really quickly in working with clients was being asked to photograph them for political campaigns or business photos type, personal brand type stuff. And in order to get the best pictures, I needed to know certain things about their business. So I had this long list of questions that I would send. And in the end, the feedback that I was getting overwhelmingly was, loved our pictures, but those questions that you asked at the beginning completely changed our business. So that's when I realized, okay, there's a real need here for this clarity. So that's what I do now.
And when you're doing that now, how do you get people to understand the mindset of running a business and getting in, like you mentioned before, the ups and downs of everything? How do you, if you want to call, what questions do you ask to get their mindset to a proper position or proper state of mind?
Okay, great question. So my proprietary methodology is 3 steps. It's focus, capture, and develop. You can see my photography background in there. So the first step is focus, and that is laying out a brand blueprint so that you have clarity and confidence to move forward. The second part is capture, where you communicate the things that you've learned, you communicate about yourself, you're communicating your brand, building that. And then the third is develop, where you analyze, measure, and adjust your strategy in real time. And then those 3 steps are repeatable. So every quarter, every 6 months, every year, you reanalyze and readjust. So that first step in building out a brand blueprint is the ultimate foundation for any business. And as I said, years ago, when I first realized this was such a needed offering, was going into businesses and they didn't have this foundation. And I see it in the masterminds I belong to, huge courses, people paying, $25,000, $30,000, $50,000 to belong to something, and they don't have the foundation. So the foundation that helps with mindset is understanding why you're doing what you're doing, what it is that you want out of it. Like, what is your ultimate goal in life? That begin with the end in mind.
Good.
And knowing who you are. I was working with a client who had originally gone into sports and loved sports, really good at it, but the personality didn't match. Like, he just wasn't cut out to be a professional athlete, even though physically he could, and was absolutely miserable. So now he's starting a business. He's a leader off the field and doing really well. So when you know yourself and in turn who you can best serve, and all of those things are in line, then you're orchestrating your life and your business in a way that it's benefiting others the most, but also yourself. Like you wake up and you're excited to look at what you have to do during the day.
You have passion for what you do.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
What questions do you ask your clients to find out their why?
Their why. Okay. So it's a combination of the three parts of your brand blueprint that I work out when I work with clients is determining what your innate intelligence is.
Okay.
And that I kind of define that as anything that you were born into the world with. So personality, skills, things that you're naturally good at, values kind of fit into there. And then the second part is your story and experiences, which is, your background, where you come from, what major things have you gone through in life, what lessons have you learned, what experiences have you gone through, what was it like in your family, all of that. And then the third part is your perceived value in the eyes of your ideal audience. So you may think, I want to serve families, but how do families see you? Do they want you to serve them? And having a good understanding of that helps you pick a good audience, but also position yourself to be successful. So out of those things, we're looking for, what are you passionate about? What are you really good at? Who are you passionate about? Because as a business owner, another key element of mindset, I believe, is being in love with your clients, being in love with your audience.
Yeah.
I believe that every one of us has a gift that the world needs. And in order to unlock that, you need to be willing to show up every day and do the work. Because as you know, being an entrepreneur and a business owner is hard. So, who is this that you love and why is that? And then it's also tied into core experiences or stories that you have that will connect you to that audience, that will give you that credibility and the passion. Because when things get really hard, when your business is shut down due to COVID, when you're barely making ends meet and it's not what you envisioned, how do you keep going? And it's when you can tap into falling in love with your audience, pulling in, and because it's pleasurable to use your gifts. And there's that, driving force of the story behind you. So it's a little bit of each of those. Is that helpful?
It does, because it's a sense where you're looking, okay, who's the genuine person, first of all. At that point, if once you find that personality, how do you match personality with an audience and or a service that can help build their business? At that point, do they love that business, that audience enough to get through the hard times?
Yes.
At that point, it's not about the money. It's about helping those people with your service.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Done.
Absolutely.
Done. That's the hope, is can we get there? And if someone doesn't agree with what you're talking about, with what you find as their personality to match a business, to match a passion, how do you approach them? How do you, if you want to call it, switch their mindset or find out why they're not agreeing on the same page with you?
Okay, reframe that. They're not agreeing with me.
So if you go, exactly, if you go, basically, I think this is your personality. I think this is what your experience is telling me is good for your good business sector for you based on the audience that you will attract. Okay. They go, I don't really like that. Then how do you shift that? What do you normally do? What's your plan B, I guess?
Yes. Okay. So a good coach does not call all of the shots. A good coach is a guide. So back to that focus, capture, develop. When we start out, we lay out that brand blueprint. And I always tell people we're coming up with a hypothesis. There's so much freedom in business. Things are always changing, So we're going to come up with a hypothesis. Here's what we believe to be true right now. So you build that brand, you release that, you see what happens. You offer, in your office, maybe you want to offer massage. I think that that's something that my clients would like. I think that really matches me, the business. And then you see how it goes. Are people signing up for that product? Is it selling? Or if you're making videos, are people watching it, saving it? What's happening there? Yeah. And then the develop step is analyzing that. So do I enjoy this? Do I want to get up? What are my clients saying? I know you and I have talked in depth about the power of testimonials. And
Yes.
it's not just to attract clients, though that's a definite benefit. It's for us as business owners to know, why do people love me? What is it
It's
that they're
feedback, right?
seeing?
It's positive or negative feedback.
Yes, yes. Or this isn't working. Like, you're really grumpy
Mhm.
every time I come in, Dr. Tony.
Mhm.
Okay, maybe I shouldn't work in the morning.
Like, it's something to where when it's genuine like that too. Okay, how do I now, like you said, develop? Is how do I adjust my
Yes,
business, my atmosphere, if you want to call it that, that can actually be more productive and be more hopefully profitable too in the same sense to make a business actually do well without the stress of doing it.
exactly. Because now it's matching you and it's
Yeah,
matching the customers. Yes.
good,
Yep.
good,
So
good.
then you go back, you look at that blueprint again and make the adjustments that that you wanted, or that you got the
Yes.
feedback on. Try it again. And as you keep repeating this, it's this beautiful organic flow where things just get more and more dialed in, and it makes everybody happy.
You're happy, you enjoy what you do, and it's your personality. You're not trying to fake it.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Phenomenal. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And when you have someone go through that and see that process, when do you feel that they've got it? When they understand what the coaching is going to help them with?
So most of the clients that I work with are
Okay.
not coming from zero. They have a business,
Mhm.
they have experience, they know what they're trying to do, and oftentimes have all of these pieces. So
Mhm.
I like to think of it as an escape room. So one time my
Okay.
husband had this genius idea of taking me on a date to an escape room.
Yes.
They blindfold us, put us in this room. I've never been, I don't know what to expect. When I finally get the blindfold off, I discover that we're inside of a locked cage. And I'm like, oh
Wow.
my gosh, okay. So we do everything we can. We eventually unlock the door, get the door open, push it out. And then in the black, this TV screen flickers on, and this sea captain informs us that we are still on board a sinking ship and we have 45 minutes left to escape. So we're, working as hard as we can and trying all of
Mhm.
this stuff, which is the same as what we do in business. We're
Mhm.
experimenting here, we're trying this, going with the things that you already know. But for us, 43 minutes later, we're staring at this pile of objects that are supposed to somehow fit together, and I can't,
Yeah.
life of me, figure out how.
Yeah.
So that's when my husband suggests we ask for help. And I'm like,
At 43 minutes.
you're
Wow.
out of your mind. Like,
Yeah.
I can do this. But he reminds me something really important, which was, you're stuck and you're
Mhm.
wasting time. And that's where I find most of my audience. So in the escape room, we call out for help, and this voice comes in out of nowhere. And in one insight, it all makes sense. Everything comes together. We solve the puzzle. We unlock the hatch. And Tony, we have successfully escaped that sinking ship.
Wow. Wow.
So anyhow, I use that example as, and it wasn't really a sinking ship. It was just an escape room, but it was fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
We get it. We get it. Yeah.
yeah. But for us in business, that's how you start to feel. You're
Mhm.
trying everything. Your business is failing. You don't know what to do. You're stuck. And when they come to me and ask for help, that's when you see this automatic switch. Everything becomes clear. The light bulb goes on. And the results that I start hearing from them are, I've been asked to speak on the stage. I just put this offering out and 20 people signed up for it. I can't believe it. So you very quickly start to see those signs of, oh my gosh, this is working. So that's what I'm looking for. And once you start getting that momentum and you're taking action and
Mhm.
things are working, that creates clarity. So the more clarity you have, the more confidence you have, and in turn, more clients that you get. So that's the point that I work to push people past, is that place of being stuck, and teaching them the skills they need to then be much more self-sufficient. Once you know the questions to ask yourself, when you know what you're looking for, it becomes a lot more fun to run a business.
And you're giving him that little bit of momentum, I think, to get that passion back, get that
Yes.
energy back.
Yes.
You're basically saying, hey, you have the right business, you're the right person for the business. we got to get you that certain quick, not quick result, but the positive feedback. Hey, you're doing a good job from
Yes,
your service.
absolutely. And this is why someone loves me. Look, I made a huge difference, and this is why. I want to do more of that. Yeah.
Good. And you see that benefit, and you go, okay, what else can I do now to make my business even better? What else can I do to make it more efficient? I mean, like you said, you're getting someone unstuck. You're saving them not only time, but also money.
Oh my gosh, yes. And frustration. Yeah. I believe that you have to have that solid brand foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you aren't running a business, even as an employee, we all need to have that understanding of ourselves and have that foundation. Otherwise, anything you're doing is throwing time and money away, because you're going to end up changing it down the road. And I'm sure you've seen that a lot.
Oh yeah, huge.
With business owners is, you know what, I've really struggled with depression, and I'm going to focus on that. And then a couple months later, hey, how's it going? How's that? You know what? Yeah. Now I'm doing this. Now I'm doing, because you're trying to find that, looking outside instead of coming up with that, definitive base that really comes from
you can do depression, you can do stress, you can do other things, but what's your base first of all? What's your base? What's your underground, if you want to call it, your root thing you believe in that you want to focus on?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And what are you good at? What do people really want to see? What will you have success in?
Exactly. Yeah. And when you go from that too, and you go from someone, okay, now they kind of see the light. What does it take to actually get there? Does it take, like you'd mentioned, you're running I want to call it a campaign where you're getting them to build up that momentum, build that hypothesis and test it. What's a good time for someone to see a result? Is it 2 weeks? Is it 2 months? Is it 3 months? Or is it based on the business, based on the person?
It's based on the person.
Okay.
I do intensives. I do one-on-one coaching. So sometimes it'll take months, depending on the amount of time someone can put into it. So if you're running one business and switching to something else and only have small amounts of time to devote to something else, we can spread that out into a couple months. You do a little bit of the work, sit and think on it. But I also do intensives. And actually the last one I did, this incredible woman, she helps women in tech and stay in their field and prevent burnout. And in the first 2 hours, she said, oh my gosh, that's it. I got all my money's worth. That was all. It was in 2 hours, everything. And it was like the floodgates opened. She sent me an email the next week and was like, I got this, these clients. It was just, everything happened. It was just that one missing piece that she needed. So it doesn't need to take a long time. It's not this long, painful process. It can be really quick and really simple. But the point is to get some of those pieces in place so that you can start taking action, as you said, to build the momentum.
And I think a lot of it is when someone is stuck, we become stressed mentally and emotionally. That kind of limits our ability to be creative and see the bigger picture.
Yes. Just like that escape room. You're looking at it this one way, and that's all that you can see. You need that voice of insight to come in and say, you know what, shine light in a different area. Look at it from a slightly different perspective. Because one of the hardest things about building a brand and, that bigger picture of your business is that it's almost impossible to figure out what that secret element is yourself. I like to say it's like those answers to like what your magic is written on an index card and it's stuck to your forehead. And, you can't read it. You need to go find other people. You need to meet others and find the ones that can read it to tell it to you. So if you're stuck and kind of shut down and you're not taking action, you're not getting help, it's really, really hard to solve that on your own.
It's great to have, like you said, coaches and mentors. I've had mentors before too. That way you're not reinventing the wheel. It may not be in your field, your sector, but can you find someone that sees the bigger picture and gives you the ability to save time and money by getting you unstuck as soon as possible. So you find the next idea, you find things that can help you. It's like playing Indian poker, right? Your friend tells you what's on your forehead. You can't see it.
I haven't played that.
No, Indian poker?
No,
you put it's like you play with just normal playing cards, put your forehead, and you have to guess what's on your forehead.
There you go. That's
And
it.
then your friends around you, or your friends who are not good friends, they'll help you or hurt you.
Right. Yes.
Based on how close a friend you are. I don't know.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Yeah.
What prevents people from actually taking that first step to finding a coach to help them get unstuck? What's the biggest concerns, one, two, or three, that because sometimes we're on one clubhouse, right?
Right.
And here's someone talking about their problem, and you're giving them answers, and they rebuttal your answer, and they rebuttal your answer, and they're but versus, hey, why not try something? Like, why? How do they get out of that? I want to call it a stressful state where they're looking for help and want to accept that help.
That's a tough one because it can come from a couple different things. Some people are they've been burned before. They've
Okay.
tried help and it hasn't worked, so now they're leery. Or they've been in that mindset of doing it themselves for so long and they trust themselves over other people. Or they don't really want help. And that's a heartbreaking one for me.
Okay.
Because, one of my clients is an NFL player. He's incredible. He's played in the Super Bowl. He's just like one of those, like the stories that he tells blows your mind. And one of his words of wisdom that came out of a conversation we were having, he said, success is scarier than failure. Because I was talking about how do you step out onto the field? How do you play with those incredible players that you grew up admiring and now you're on the field? How do you do it? And it wasn't focusing on the failure, it's focusing on the fear. But that success is scarier than failure. You aren't afraid to fail, you're afraid to succeed. So it's really looking at, why do you want to do this? What is it that you're really trying to get? And then it's also helpful to look outside of yourself and to say, what if, in your case, what if you hadn't gone to school and become a chiropractor? Think of all those people that you help every day. Sure, there's other chiropractors, but are they the same as you? No. Are they getting the same care? So there's people out there that need what you have to offer. And by not helping them, you're hurting them. You're leaving somebody else out there. So if you care about those people, it's your duty to do it. But it's hard. It's really hard. And there's so many things that you have to overcome. The other thing that I find that's really helpful is to join a group of like-minded people, and like a mastermind group, or a group of people maybe that you just meet locally at your local business bureau back when you join in, or a Facebook group,
chamber or mastermind or something like that. Yeah, exactly.
And start talking those things through, because then you start to see, like, okay, other people struggle with this, or this is what they're doing, and that's what helps. Listening to podcasts like yours here, like, that's incredible what you're putting together to offer to other people. So listen to that in the car. You never know what's going to help click things for you, and taking action when you're inspired is another big one.
I think a lot of it is timing too. Where are they? And then especially if they're in a group of like-minded people, some people may be struggling more, some may be struggling less. So even if that person can help that person who's struggling more to get a certain step, then they feel like they're helpful, that they can reach out to someone else. Hey, look, I've helped this person. Now in their own mind, maybe it's time for me to find some help too. Give that a little bit of confidence, a little bit of a trigger for one also.
Yep.
It's huge when people actually, I think, understand the benefit of coaching, maybe wellness coaching, maybe coaching from a business perspective too, because it saves you so much time and money to not reinvent the wheel.
I signed up for my very first course, like high-end course and master program in 2019. And it was one of those things, it was like, oh my gosh, this is so expensive. People really spend this much money doing this. Is this going to be worth it? I went through all of that and, took the leap and poured everything into it. And one of the benefits to it that I hadn't anticipated is, when you invest in yourself, you are putting energy into momentum. Momentum, does that make sense? To start gaining momentum, things start happening. You now have people holding you accountable. There's now this class that you're taking. There's the appointment that you have with your coach. You have to show up. So it's getting part of yourself out of the way. And when you spend money, you're going to get, most people will get what they've paid out of it. Like, okay, I've put this out here. I need to get things back. So it's forcing you to take steps. So I signed up for that program.
Yeah.
Same time as I met a friend of mine. A year later, we reconnected.
Yeah.
I had done it. He had not. The difference was night and day.
Wow.
It was unbelievable. And then that just compounds year after year after year as he's struggling, as he's still trying to learn those things to get things going. So I learned that lesson, but I was one of those people that really struggled with it.
And I think that there's a saying called, when you pay attention.
Yes. You show up. Yes.
You have to. You're like, I paid $1,000 for this. Why wouldn't I show up? Why wouldn't I put what wouldn't I want to boot camp myself in this weekend, live here to make sure I get the most out of it so I can take it home and then apply that information and have coaches, like you said, make you accountable. Hey, did you follow through with this? Have you started this workshop yet? Have you done your homework on this? Have you filled this questionnaire out? When you have that, you're on a timeline to where you have to be on it. If not, you're not dedicated to your own self to have someone else. You can't blame the coach or the program if you haven't done your own homework.
Right. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's amazing when people don't realize it, is when you look at the ROI on things like that, especially high-end seminars or events or coaching, the goal is, because it's their reputation also, it's their brand also, their goal is to make you successful to reach your goal, to help their own personal brand as a coach or as a seminar, if you want to call it, someone who puts on seminars, there's probably a certain word, makes them look better by helping you out.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah.
Huge. To not wrap up the show yet, but what do you want people to learn, if you want to call it something, as an early takeaway to get them to understand the need for a coach wherever they are in business right now?
So what would be a takeaway to help them realize that they need a coach? I think one of the downfalls of not having a coach, as we discussed earlier, is getting stuck. And that's when you don't know what to do or how to do it. So it may be just some clarity that you need. It can also be that you're getting in your own way. Like, as entrepreneurs, we're amazing. Like, it is not easy. We are all incredible. I have not met one that I have not been impressed with, and able to fall in love with them and their gifts and what they do and get excited about all of that. But when it's just you can take those gifts for granted because you've always had that.
That's your normal, right? That's your standard.
Exactly. That's kind of what you've always done. Can't everybody do that? No, they can't. And when you have somebody outside to consistently reflect that light back, it's incredible. That makes all of the difference. So if you imagine having consistent clarity, somebody to help you make those decisions, to help shine that light in the areas that you can't see, to be you accountable, and also to help you get unstuck when you hit that block, when it's like, I'm just not reaching out to that client that keeps calling. Well, why aren't you? Let's really look at what that is. That helps you move forward just in leaps and bounds. So instead of staying stagnant in that hamster wheel or treading water, you're now moving forward. And as you move forward, this person's building a relationship with you so that they can continue to help you grow over and over. It's like the gift that keeps on giving. So
it's a nonstop where, okay, it may help you today, but what's going to happen 3 months ago, 4 months from now, when you use that same experience with another client? Another one, that's when your learning curve becomes faster. So you feel like it's less energy, less stress to go through the same event.
Yeah. The thing that I got stuck on was spending the money. I'm earning this, I have this, I could put it towards this, I could put it towards an employee, I could, get this equipment, or I can do this myself. I know, like that escape room, I know I can do this. putting that out there was so hard, the best decision ever. Because as I said, it just compounded my income and what I was able to do. We aren't meant to do it on our own. And that's
No.
a huge mindset shift that needs to be made. Like, yes, you're amazing, but imagine if somebody else comes in to help support you. How much more amazing can you be? And those people, those clients that you want to serve, your family that's depending on you, yourself, we have one life to live.
Yeah.
And it it's not as long as you may think it should be. And if you don't take these steps, it's most likely going to be something that you regret. So do it now. You owe it to yourself, your family, your clients.
And a lot of it is what I've learned before is 1 plus 1 should equal 3 or 4. Not
Yes.
not just no not just normal too. That synergistic relationship when you align and match up with a coach and or a mentor, that synergistic relationship that should make your life easier to get the same result or even better results.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's compounded. It isn't just, yeah, it's like investing.
Yeah, exactly. It keeps building over time.
Yep.
With what's going on right now too, with now that we're getting out of COVID, and at least Southern California getting out of COVID right now, and business seems to be opening up. There's more live events, there's more group events, there's more. In my sense, they're doing live chamber events now in person, getting
Oh,
back to normal business. What suggestions do you want people to look into to get them back to where they can actually, if you want to take advantage of this time as things start opening up right now? What's a good thing for them to look into? What's a good strategy for them to kind of focus on?
I would start in reevaluating.
Good.
Things have changed, you have changed, your audience has changed, the world has changed. So coming back out, this is a great time to start that process that I discussed earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Focus, capture, and develop. To sit down and reflect. What do you want? Why are you doing what you're doing? How can your gifts be used differently, the same? How have things shifted, and how do you fit into that place? Actually, I have a mini brand blueprint that I could offer your listeners if they would like a copy of that. Uh,
Great.
I can give that. I can give you the link to it. We can post it in.
Perfect.
It's also available if you go to getclaritygetclients.com.
Okay.
A pink button on there that they can press to download it. And that would be a great place to start. Print that out and start really looking through building out that blueprint of how you want to move forward so that you're stepping out with that clarity and confidence.
And a lot of it is like you said, you're almost doing your own little bit of a screening. Okay, where am I on this? And do I feel comfortable where I am? Or can I actually grow or change to now become a different, I would hopefully more efficient, more successful business or service owner, because now okay, I've gone through this a year, I'm good with it, I've survived. How do I now grow from here so I get out of that anxiety that I have to pull back, be careful, versus now I can extend out and now grow and with, like you said, with a coach, once you've gone through that blueprint, you can actually go, okay, now this is what I want to work on. This is what I want to work on. At that point, you're more focused on what you want to get out of coaching and not waste, again, not only time, but also money not getting there.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
That's good.
And how do you want to present yourself?
Mm-hmm.
How do you want to connect with other people? What have you learned that they can benefit from? Because a huge part of a brand is connection. It's building that know, trust. So when you're showing up confident and you have that understanding of who you are in this place and time, that's appealing to other people, and it allows them to authentically connect with you instead of feeling like they're still afraid or they're leery or they don't know who they are, and neither do I. Instead, feeling of like they're ready for this, and I want to be a part of it.
And the thing is, and everyone's right now is in that ready mode. Okay, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I want to get out. I want to do things, but I want to do it the right way. I don't want to do it before pre-pandemic and stress myself and burn myself out. So I'm done again. How do I make my life more efficient, personal and professional? So that point I enjoy what I do, but not go home exhausted every day.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes. Yeah. And I think part of that is looking at the end goal. We've all had to reevaluate our lives and gotten more insight on the importance of family and, how busy we really were before.
Yeah.
Taking stock in that so that you can make choices for yourself to not give up the exercise that you took in over quarantine because you weren't, commuting, to not eat out all the time because you got used to cooking again. What things that were benefits that you want to take with you moving forward? And, what do you want to kind of push aside? But making really conscious decisions about what business you're taking, the direction you're going, what your life is going to look like so that you can keep that health. That's so important.
And my own personal story was I would be open if I could my office 24/7. I would make an urgent care or emergency room, right? I would go, I'm going to see everyone I can, as long as I can, whatever it is. With COVID, I'm here now 3 days a week.
Oh, wow. That's a big change.
Huge change. We're seeing more people now a year later from pre-COVID than we were a year ago. Mm-hmm. My partner works a little bit different days than I do, but we've taken Saturdays off. We take Tuesday, Thursday mornings off. At that point, we're good to go. People will work around our schedule. Mm-hmm. So I'm not in my sense, not burning myself out, but not wasting energy if I don't have to be here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can do more interviews and shows with professionals like yourself, Tera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for. Good. Anything else to wrap? I put on the show notes too. Your link to your Instagram for one also. That's okay. I hope they can DM you with questions for one also. Get the blueprint from you also. At that point, they'll get an idea of how to get themselves started to at least screen out what they're doing, what they can help with, and what they're doing in a good way. How else do you want them to connect with you? Anything else, or is that good enough for now?
No, that's great. They can reach out. Find out anything else that they'd like to know or connect through getclaritygetclients.com.
Perfect. Thank you, Tera, for being on the show. I'm gonna end it right now. We'll stay on because we'll go to the end of once I close out the live, we'll go to the broadcast. I'm gonna make sure people get this not only my personal live face, but also my Facebook groups, along with people from my chamber that need this talk to get them a little bit off their butt sometimes, as we all do, to understand, okay, just do a check-in. Am I good for the next, say, post-pandemic, the next 5 years or so, to have a successful, less stressed business, less stressed life, to keep my life and my health basically healthy as much as possible. Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Tera. And the broadcast, we'll talk a little bit more. Thank you.